Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you in this daily Hindu analysis video. In the morning these videos are coming, in the evening the MCQ lessons they are coming, and both are coming into Hindi and English, both the languages. And this is a practice for mains, this is a practice for your interview phase, this is a practice for your prelims phase. So extremely important, always listen very carefully. And new month is starting, so just 11 months are left now for the next year's prelims examination. And always I say that always try to find reasons to have a new start. Always stay raw. Always you will be out of stress, you will be out of depressive states if you try to become a raw person again and again. So that's a quality. And in this particular thing, whatever knowledge you have, that will not be forgotten, you will not forget that. But all those stresses which have kept your energy on a lower side, that will go away. So that is the case. And whatever you will do in your future, the way you will take advantage of this time, the way you will execute your plan, this is going to decide how much strong you will be in the future. And this is the law of the nature: strong attracts all the weak people. And whatever you have lost, whatever the opportunity that is gone, that will come back again if you will be a strong person in the future. So just try to become a stronger person. And this education, this practice, this struggle will make you a strong person. That is the pledge you should take every time when you take a start. Let's start the lesson. It is a huge lesson today, and the affordable courses by StudyIQ, the link and the description is given below the video, and you can access that. You can call on these numbers also, and the website is here, chat section is given there. PDF you will get on the Facebook group. You can send me a request there, and I also upload that on my Telegram channel. The link is also given there. The StudyIQ's Telegram channel, you all must be knowing about that. And you can follow me on Instagram also, and there I will provide you the Telegram's link also. Here I upload the PDF. So that's the case. One important issue, like the NRC in Assam, they are starting it in Nagaland. Nagaland in the past was very much a disturbed area, and fierce tribes are living there. For centuries, they are known for their fierceness, their particular rivalry with other tribes and all. And the issue of headhunting, we all know that's a renowned phenomena regarding the Nagas and all. So this is not going to be easy a thing, as it is going with many flaws in Assam. And here this issue would be very much sensitive again, because it's a sensitive area, it's a frontier area, and the tribes are very much fierce. 25 tribes are living there. And it's always a very much provocative issue of indigenous tribes, hill tribes, and the plain area people, the people who came from outside the state. And this is the exercise known as Register of Indigenous Inhabitants of Nagaland. So this would be very challenging task. So the way they are executing NRC in Assam, this way if they are going to execute this thing in Nagaland, then they may face a difficult phase in the state. So you can see the picture, Konyak tribe, it's iconic tribe there, and other important tribes are also there. Hornbill festival is very much famous there, and there these tribes, they participate in many festivals and games and all. So that is a world famous thing. And they will be giving 60 days deadline to produce all these documents and to produce all the claims and all, and till 10th of October these will be given. It will start by 10th of July, and the provisional list will then be published in the villages and wards, also on the website of the district and state government website on September 11. So September to October, that would be a very challenging time, and we need to see how they execute that, because many things will come. It's not a small issue, it's a huge issue. Many articles will keep coming about that, many issues these experts will tell us. We will keep talking about that. Now I would come to the important article today, that is regarding the America's way. It's a unilateral way, how it is judging things, how it is trying to influence decisions, and how it is trying to escape from the international agreements and all, and how it is trying to put its emphasis, because it's a big country, it's a dominant country in the world. So how it is taking advantage of that, and how it is trying to push a developing country like India there. So it is a kind of a revelation here, and Bishwajit Dhar has written an important document here. We will talk about that. Important for GS paper 2 mainly, and GS paper 3 also. And a thumbs down to the unilateralism. Trump administration has started a wave of protectionism. Buy American, hire American, and anyhow, whatever capacity they have, bring that capacity to prioritize American issues always. And whether it's a bilateral issue, whether it's a multilateral issue, whether it's any kind of international issue, always think about the American issue. So that is the political campaign all about, and the way they are executing things, that is really a problematic thing, because it's a clear shift from the previous responsible presidents of United States of America. And now what Trump is doing, it looks like very much amateurish, immature, and more he is a businessman than he is a important leader, a statesman there. So nobody considers Trump as a statesman, and his working is showing the same thing there. Now it says that India has become the Trump administration's most significant target after China. The trade war is going on with China, many issues, but you see these are big countries and major rivals. India is not at that stage till now. India would need around 10 to 15 to 20 years time to reach up to those levels. So that is the case, and that depends on many issues. But China and America, they are huge countries. They will not fight very easily, and there is no direct confrontation. But they are taking this tariff wars and all, and that's the case. Trump is provoking a lot, but China is maintaining it's a kind of a way that it follows, and they are waiting for some other things. But India is not that kind of a huge country like China, and capacities, they are different, and they are on a lower side with India. So here America in a way is playing like a big brother here, and this big brother attitude is not a good sign for this country. You see, we came very close, then we signed these LEMOA, COMCASA and all these things, and we hailed it as the biggest relationship in this world, and all big nations, they are tying their knots, and all these all things we heard in the mainstream media in India. But now whatever is happening for the last 1 year, that is totally a different situation. It's a opposing situation, and it started with the sanctions on Iran, and then this waivers, then waivers ended, the GSP ended, and before that our e-commerce rules that came because of the political pressure, and now things are totally changed. And you see, consistently they are raising tariffs against each other. Recently India retaliated for America's positions there with raising a 28 products tariff. So that was a retaliation, a genuine retaliation by India. But America says that it's a kind of a provocative thing for us, and do not try to provoke us. We will bring more and more things there, and more sanctions we may bring there. So it's all a tone of totally mean country. And as the experts were saying 1 or 2 years back, that America is not a reliable state, and it's always taking its side, and it always takes care about its own concerns and interest, and out of interest only it works. It makes friends and it makes enemies. So this is all going on. So it's a challenging time for us, because we cannot ignore it totally, we cannot go along it totally. And you see, Trump now has had a meeting with Mr. Modi ji, and big announcements were there, but not a particular work on any big deal. So just announcement there. But these are formal meets, and they did not raise any kind of issue in these kind of meetings. So we will have to see what goes further, and how they are going to execute other things. Like Mike Pompeo said that friends are bound to have differences and all, but we have to see the way. But writer here says that all these problems are because of America. America says a lot of things. America put allegations on a lot of issues on a lot of countries, but always its hidden interests are there. It's a powerful country till now, although on a decline, but still a powerful country. It has all the capacities, and it can support its own exporters, its own producers, and it can make cheaper things there, so that American people will not buy any other country's products, and they would want to sell their products in other countries, and in other countries they want that lower tariffs should be there, as it is alleging against India that India is having high tariffs against American products and all, and American motorcycles and all. So it is giving many examples there. So it says that India is trying to get all the help from our side, but India is not giving us the access to the Indian market, because it has a focus on Indian market. It sees that China has taken all kinds of advantages here in this country, and India is a nice arena there where we can play our game. So that is the thinking of American industries and all. But you see, it is not accessible to America totally till now, because many issues, we are a developing country, many conditions are applicable on us, and we have been complying WTO agreements and all multilateral issues we have been following, but America has not been following that. America always opposing, defying all these norms, and always trying to distort them, manipulate them according to its own interest. So that is the case, and that is the reason that many times we have lost many trade wars, some important issues, some intellectual property issues and all on the WTO platform, and this is all pressure by America, because it exercises some dominance there in the Western institutions. So that is the case. Although the world is changing, that many institutions are coming in the East also, and they are becoming important, but till now India is under pressure. So that's the case. Now Trump administration has distinctly upped the ante. As we all know, the tone that it is using, the Trump administration is using, that is really a problematic thing. What is the issue? Issue is that they have alleged and they have investigated India's trade policies, and they say that we have been taking many concerns, we have been taking many complaints against Indian administration for decades now, that they have been unfair in this trade practice, and they do not want to give access to its market there to Americans, and this whole investigation was based on their own domestic laws. So that was the case of unilateralism, means according to their domestic laws which they have made for their interests. So on the basis of those laws, they are evaluating international things. So this is totally unfair to hear that somebody is evaluating something based on their own private issues. This is not the case. WTO GATT is working there, and they are made for these kind of issues. So they should be evaluated on those principles, and where we are complying totally. But America wants to investigate and execute things according to its own interest, and that's why it's a unilateral issue, a huge issue. It gave two reports, one in 14, one in September 15. In 14, when the new Modi ji government came, then it was somehow on a softer side, and it supported some issues. But later, after 1 year, they brought a report where they criticized a lot the Indian policies. So again, they made this huge hue and cry that India is against our interest, and they do not want to give us the access there, and all things are blocked for us, and it wants to get all advantages from America's side, but it does not want to reciprocate there. So that was the case. So investigation was flawed based on domestic laws. So it was the case of propriety, means it was not upright a system, and procedure was also flawed, as I told you, and substance was not there. That is the case. So writer is alleging American administration directly, and it says that this is the clear case of flouting of rules of GATT and WTO. GATT, Generalized Agreement on Tariff and Trade, and it was established before WTO. Then Uruguay rounds went from 86 to 94 for 8 years, and then in 1995 WTO was established, but still the GATT remains the important part of it, remains the important feature of it, and according to its rules we should get some reservations there, but we are not getting that. Instead of that, America is urging us in multiple ways. So that's the case, and this is all about this article. This is the gist. It is all given there in a different words. It is explaining the same thing. So it's an unfair system according to the writer there, ultimately. Okay, so the case of agricultural subsidies, it cites here. It says that agricultural subsidies are a huge matter for most of the countries, and for the developing countries, they are the bigger issues, because they want some support for their domestic industries. They are in a developing stage. So if it is that it's their an equality aim in the world, then we need reservation there. But America like countries, these bigger countries, they have capacities. They can give subsidies to their producers, so that agricultural commodities and all, they will become so cheap that their countrymen, they will buy their own things and they will not buy any exported items, things which are exported from India, and they will try to dump things in India also, in countries like India also. So this is how the India's domestic trade is distorted, and our industries which are already under a lot of stress, they will not get developed. So that's the case of agricultural subsidies also. These are the basic kind of industry, and all countries have issues regarding that, because America like country, they are distorting the matter there. So that's the case, and we have to see, because it is the issue of capacity, it is the issue of international stature there, and indirectly it is trying its influence there, it is trying to suppress us, but we cannot comply. We are not a small country today, we are a huge country, but some issues are still there. So it's better that both the countries, they go in a compromising manner and they cooperate in these matters instead of challenging each other. But till now they have challenged a lot, and what they are going to do in the future, we need to see there. That's the case. And this disregard of the rule of law, international rule of law, the trade laws, the WTO, the GATT, that should not be allowed in any case, otherwise it would not be a happy word anymore. That's the case. Next article, it's not that much important. It talks about the Finland's position. You see, European Council is there, and it collectively, a body defines European Union's overall political direction and priorities. And you see, in 2009 it was formalized as an institution by the Treaty of Lisbon. So today it's an important body, although some powers were curtailed in 2009, but still it has a lot of influence there. Right now the Prime Minister of Poland, Mr. Donald Tusk, is the president there of this council, and now the writer Eric Hellstrom says that the new president which the Finland is going to be is very much cooperative and very much peace demanding nation, and it talks a lot of positive things about India. It says that we expect a lot of cooperation. India is a huge country, its history is very respectable, and all the nice positive things it is talking about India. It says that European Union started with 6 founding members and just for the economic cooperation, but today is a custom union, it's an economic union, it's a political union, and 28 countries are there. Finland is the country which is always on the top of those indexes and all, and very nice country, small country, very less population, very beautiful country, environment friendly country, and you see, it is near the North Pole, so all these geographical phenomena are also attached with that, midnight sun and all, and these kind of things are very beautiful. And Scandinavian countries are really progressive and nice, and these are the best countries in the world. So Finland is among them. Nokia as a company, it comes from Finland only, and now Finland is chosen for the next presidency for the EU Council. Now say, when it came in 1999, the slogan was Europe into the new millennium. In 2006, they integrated 10 new EU member states, and after that, Lisbon Treaty happened in 2009. Some curtailment was there, but the EU agenda they are following, and they say that we want the better cooperation there. We want that the free trade agreement deal between India and European Union that happens in future, and that should be totally possible there. And all kinds of cooperation in the areas of climate change, terrorism, science and technology, global affairs, everywhere we expect a lot from India, and we want the new strategy, that is EU India strategy taken in November 18, that should propagate and we should execute that in letter and spirit. So that's the case. So Finland wants to lay stress on the importance of a circular economy by replacing the use of paper and plastic material. So these kind of things, this shows that their priority is the peace, environment, nature, and the cooperation. And this kind of country we need in this world. Suppose all the countries they become like Norway, Finland, and Switzerland, and these kind of countries which are always at the top, and very less corruptions, very improved level of governance, and very understanding citizens, educated people. These kind of situations are if there in this world, then seriously it would be a totally different world. But today interests are devastating for bigger countries especially, and these kind of countries are sidelined. But now it's a great thing that they are going to be the president here. And Mr. Reiter is the diplomat here from Finland in New Delhi, and he is talking about these expectations. So that's important. Currency is also mentioned here. It says that currency is the euro, and EU is a unique economic and political union that binds 28 countries together. And Finland wants to deepen security cooperation in the EU, and it wants the same for EU and India also. So that's the case. Next article, important for GS paper 3. It is talking about the SEBI's regulation. You see, some days back we talked about the credit rating agencies, how they performed in a inefficient way. Maybe intentionally they were giving wrong ratings for some companies who later could not repay their loans. So maybe it was intentional. So SEBI went for a lot of regulations against them. Now SEBI is talking about the mutual funds, because mutual funds are subjected to market risk. And what are mutual funds? Mutual funds are a kind of a pool of money. You see, if you all people we buy shares and all, and directly we buy them, and it all depends on our luck that these shares, they will have a higher value or they will go down in the future. So that's our decision. But mutual funds, there are professionals, there are important asset management companies, and they will manage this particular fund professionally. So the chances of a better return, they are better with mutual funds. And it is the same money which you invest in the share market, you will buy mutual fund units instead of share markets. So that is the case. So this is the pooling of money, and the money of investors like common people like us, and that would be professionally managed. So this is the case of mutual funds. But as I say, that subjected to market risk. And that's why if they fail, if these units they do not give you good returns, then there is no responsibility there. So when there is no responsibility, then anybody can cheat there. There can be a nice game there. There can be some nexuses between some powerful people, some industries, maybe some governments and all, and they may play a game there. And the investors' money would be under a lot of threat. So that's why SEBI is taking a lot of steps here. You see, RBI, SEBI, these are the regulatory bodies, and SEBI established by the SEBI Act of 1992, statutory body, and it's a regulatory body. So the responsibility is huge there. And why autonomy is important? Suppose a case, if any corrupt government comes, and they will bring a nexus between the financial institutions and maybe these companies and all, and they will set a plan there that credit rating agencies, they will rate these companies like that. We will put pressure on banks that they will give you loans, and then it's no need to repay. You go away from this country and do not come back, and we will infuse some money from the taxpayers' money into the banks or some big companies like ILFS, because they declared them as too big to fail. So these kind of things are not impossible. They may be possible. So SEBI, RBI, they need to be taking responsibility here that these kind of things they do not become a reality. So that's why their autonomy is extremely important. And whenever their autonomy is under stress, or they are under a political pressure, any kind of government pressure, then these things are really problematic. And that's why the role of regulation is extremely important there. And you see, they are talking about mutual funds, and they are very much highlighted these days. A lot of advertisement we see. Earlier they used to be for longer terms, now they are available for the shorter terms also. And for the shorter terms, SEBI is putting some pressure to increase the exit load. So it is not like that whatever SEBI is doing is the best one, but it is conditional. In this condition, this is the best approach. Otherwise, it would have some negative impact on the bond market, and the bond market is struggling in India, because it could not create that much of trust, and it could not establish in a nice way like Western countries. So it may bring a negative impact to the bond market issue that we are expecting that it should grow. But there is no way left for SEBI than to go for these regulations. So that is the case, and more complexities are not important for us. These basic superficial things, you should know about these. Okay, and the regulatory bodies, their working is very much important. So for the mains, this understanding was very much important. Next, among members, it is regarding G20 meet, and all these things are basic ones. We are discussing about that. Like 20 meetings happened, bilateral meets happened between India and many countries, trilaterals also, like RIC, Russia, India, China, and JAI, Japan, America, India, JAI, and Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, the BRICS grouping. So multilateral meetings also happened. So 20 meetings in 6 days, and that was huge. And these countries, 85% of the world's nominal GDP. So it's a huge platform. We could propagate our proposals there. We could say about the important crucial things like the important economic offenders, fugitives issues, and the climate change funding issue, terrorism issues. Terrorism is the very common thing that we have been raising for many years now, and climate change funding is also an issue. So it's a formal meet. No country would go for some aggressive measures or any kind of thing against any other country. These things do not happen. But important is that we have raised our voice there. And one more tough message we have sent there, because Japan was pushing for a thing that the data free flow should be there, and we are demanding the data localization. In the RBI circular also, this issue was raised that we should go for data localization laws, because in the case of MNCs and all, we want the governance to be there in our physical boundary. So these data centers and these domains and all, their important physical centers, they should be present in boundary of India. So we want data localization, and other countries like Brazil also are demanding those kind of things. But countries like America and other countries, they want the free flow there, because they want to take some advantage there, and many advantage which are hidden one, they can be taken, as we all know about that. So we want data localization, and we raised our voice against the Japanese proposal. We said that we cannot go with this proposal of a data free flow. We want a localization issue, and we have our own concerns regarding that, and we want some important control there on our data, because data is the new gold. Data mining is happening in this world, and more and more data which is available to these developed countries, they will be much more powerful in this sense, because this is the new future. So these all things were talked, and next hosting would be done by Saudi Arabia in the 2020 year, and after that in Italy 2021, and next 2022 would be India's turn, and that time we will raise many issues with much more intensity, and that would be our hosting there. So we are waiting for 2022, and it's a very important year. 75 years of our independence, many important schemes are going to end there, and many issues. Next article is regarding the education sector, higher education sector. The writer points out a very important thing here. It is important for GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4 and essay also. All points are important here. It is the basic issue of education and higher education. That means skills, research, everything is attached here. And we have many reports. Radhakrishnan committee came in 1949. And after that, the education policy of 1968, that came, the first policy came. After that, it came in 86. Then 1992, the revision came. Then in 2007, the education, the knowledge commission came, NKC. And in 9, the Yashpal committee came. All suggested all similar things, common things. Writer says that what is the point of bringing again and again these experts committees, and again and again getting same recommendations when you do not follow any of those, you do not execute any of those. What is the point? With Equip, you employed 80 experts and they gave similar suggestions. We all know what is obvious, and these are obvious things, and it is all escaping from the main issue and just delaying the process. We know what needs to be done. First thing that is needed is the money. Please make this money available. 1.5 lakh crore rupees you are targeting in the next 5 years. That's a welcome move. But if you look at the budget, in the last budget, just 37,000 crore rupees were given. So, and you see, it is not just for the higher education sector. Other related ministries like departments like space, scientific, industrial research, science and technology, entrepreneurship, agricultural research, health research, all allocated only modest support. And this is really a problematic thing. When so huge this country is, and so huge the population is, and the maximum population is below the 25 years, they need higher education there. Our average enrollment is just 25%. We are targeting 50% in a draft education policy by 2035. But a conflicting aim is with Equip. They say that by 2024 means like in next 5 years we will raise it from 25% to 52%. Means they never lack in announcements. They can make any kind of impossible announcement. It looks impossible because from 25 to 52 in just 5 years. We know how much possible is there. There is a reason that they are targeting 50% by 2035 in the education policy. So what is the meaning of this 52%? But it's good that they are targeting this kind of high. But how they are going to implement that? That's the problem. If they are going to give 37,000 crore rupees in next 5 years, and in the last budget they gave 37,000 crore rupees, and they are not going to raise this amount with a huge difference in the future, then how we are going to achieve that? It's totally not understandable in a sense. So better if they go with the equipped targets. These are nice targets, great targets. We need them today, and extremely rotten this system has become. If we talk about the higher education and the research issue in all these areas, you see there is very less support, and we need this sector under a lot of support and a lot of money. More than 2, 3, 4, 5 lakh crore rupees needs investment there. You see, recruitments are not happening. If the basic thing, that is the recruitment, the permanent teachers, professors are not there in these colleges, then who is going to come to there, and they will be interested in the such studies, and they will have any hope that something good will be there in their careers with that college and university education? How it can be possible if you are not hiring permanent teachers, if you are just hiring contract based the teachers and some guest faculties and all, and you will repeat the retired people, then who is going to come there? What kind of attraction would be left? What kind of focus, energy would be left in the university or the college? And this is the situation of most of the colleges and universities in this country, if we leave IIT, IIMs, all these institutions aside. So that's why it's a rotten system, and it creates a very negative understanding and a psychology regarding the education system, the higher education system. And there is a reason that only 25% students are enrolled in the higher education here. So all these reasons are very much obvious. We know what is the problem. There is no meaning bringing again and again different expert committees, because they will all go for same suggestions, and these are very much obvious that you need to do here. So it is the time to implement things. It is the time to execute things. It is not the time to bringing research and studies there consistently. There is no meaning. This is just the wastage of time, wastage of money, because we know what are the obvious things there. And if you talk about the basic research, then it is the most important area for the future and the most problematic thing in India. They are not giving any support. Whatever support that comes, it's by Tata Trust, Infosys Foundation and Pratiksha Trust. We can count them on our fingertips. And by the government, you see hardly any support. If we talk about a very crucial sector called biotechnology, what is the government support there? How much money they are investing there? This is a shameful condition there. And so advanced and important research demanding fields, and very less investment there. So it shows their priority. And we all know what was the expense of the Lok Sabha elections, around 60,000 crore rupees. And how much they gave to higher education in this country? 37,000 crore rupees, nearly half the amount. So that's why I say that it's all the matter of priorities, and these things show what is the political will, what is their priority in this country. So the obvious needs to be implemented there, and India's demographic dividend would only be achieved if this higher education is getting a boost. Otherwise, this demographic dividend would become the demographic drag, and that would be very difficult to maintain in this country, because the energy which is there with the youth, if all that energy turns into a negative one, it can devastate this country, as we have many examples today. People are hitting the officers, and when they get bail, they are shooting in the air, celebratory firing. We have seen how they are killing other people, tying them with the poles, and repeated incidents are happening. That happened in Jharkhand yesterday. It happened in West Bengal, where a person there was no surety of any kind of allegation that he stole any bike or something like that, but they killed him, and they had beaten him so blue and black, and it was so unimaginable to think about that. And you see, the bigger problem is that some educated people, they are justifying this in a very beautiful way. They are justifying these killings. They are saying that these are criminals and all, and they should be killed like that. First of all, the allegation was not proved. It was just an excuse to target that person. So these kind of things, these kind of things are totally relatable with this education scenario in this country, and the skilling scenario in this country, research scenario in this country. Because what they are learning these rubbish things from the political class, and they are not learning here where they need to be learned. And you should connect things in the mains examination, in the essay topics. You can find many brilliant points there which are citing the real problems of this country, and if you can identify those problems, you can give the proper solution also. Solution is that invest here, recruit teachers, and give support to the research there. All these suggestions are given in this page. You see, innovation at the institutional level, world-class research-intensive universities should be there. National Research Foundation is a welcome move there. And the latest draft NEP and EQUIP, they have reiterated the importance of some basic points, and they should be implemented now. This is the time to implement the obvious. That's the biggest line there. Okay. So structure and governance should be reformed. Too much bureaucracy is problematic, and the political pressure, that is the biggest issue of the day. That the political pressure on the universities, that should end in all the sense. Real autonomy should be real autonomy should be resumed in the universities. Otherwise we would not have any kind of good future there, and we would have bigger and bigger problems there, because they are giving the right direction to the youth. If that youth is frustrated out of the job and learning negative and drastic things, then we should be ready for a very dangerous future in this country. So these are not negative talks, these are harsh realities, because the intensity of the allegation is so huge, because we are ignoring the obvious for many years now, and every next government comes with many promises, and they say that all previous ones were thieves and we are the best ones. So show that you are the best, implement those things. Do not count the mistakes of the previous governments. You are chosen there to implement those things, not to raise slogans there and do something here, and do not just make hollow talks and announce the schemes. Yesterday we saw the important release of fund in the Nirbhaya issue, the Nirbhaya fund issue. We saw the reality there. So these kind of things are there. They, even in the higher education sector, they have not even allocated the budget there, and releasing the fund is a different issue. So that kind of problem is there, and it's a huge newspaper today. I will have to stop here. Facts we will take tomorrow. Many articles were there. It was very much necessary to talk about all of them, and it's very late today, so we will take these facts tomorrow. You can go through the PDF and we will discuss it tomorrow. Thanks a lot.